story, we can go across to France 24's Oliver Farry, standing by in Hong Kong. Oliver, what's the latest?
Well, Next Media, who are the publishers of Apple Daily, announced this afternoon that they would cease operations no later than this Saturday, but they also said the last print copy, which is more or less their flagship product, will come out tomorrow on Thursday. Ever since Monday, this has been more or less expected, as the company admitted that it could no longer pay staff or even conduct any ordinary operations because it had, as you said, $2 million in assets frozen under the national security law. The company's CEO and Apple Daily's editor-in-chief were last week charged with collusion with foreign powers and refused bail. And of course, the company's founder and the Apple Daily's owner, Jimmy Lai, is himself subject to the same charges under the national security law and is currently serving 20 months in prison for illegal assembly on separate charges. So after 26 years, Apple Daily is finally folding, not for journalistic reasons as such, but for financial reasons, even though the company is very financially solvent, certainly compared to an awful lot of other newspapers around the world. This pretty much suits Beijing and the Hong Kong government because it is an administrative closure. They can say that journalists are not being targeted. That's not really being bought by anyone, but they do not have to explicitly censor in order to sideline Apple Daily, which is pretty much the last critical voice in Hong Kong print media left.
And Oliver, are journalists in Hong Kong changing the way they operate because of this national security law, which has gone into effect last year?
Well, certainly ever since last year, journalists have had to be a little bit more careful, particularly when handling interviewees and informants and so on, and sources. In fact, an awful lot have reported, I found it myself, that it's actually quite difficult to get a lot of people to go on the record talking about anything related to the national security law. And we even saw today that with the arrest of one Apple Daily opinion columnist, a man called Young Ching Kei, who writes under the pen name Li Peng. He was arrested, the first one to be arrested related to journalism he has actually published. So even people are very reluctant to even share or retweet anything that he might have written because nobody really knows what articles are subject to the national security law or subject to the investigation. The Hong Kong government and the police cited 30 last week, but nobody is exactly sure. So certainly it is going to change the way that journalists in Hong Kong do their business, and it's going to have a profoundly chilling effect.
We'll see how this all plays out. Thank you very much for that, Oliver Farry.